Hey, it's Doug with Backcountry Pilgrim. Today I am checking out the L1 and L2 base layers from Finetrack. These are the first two pieces of a 5-part layering system that they have developed for hiking and other outdoor activities. Today it is about 65 degrees, so it's going to be a fairly warm hike, for me at least. I have the L1 ultralight mesh shirt and the L2 long sleeve. When I put these layers on in my 75 degree house, I was fairly warm, not quite uncomfortable, but I definitely felt better taking one of those layers off. The mesh shirt actually was about as warm as I would expect a t-shirt to be, although it let the airflow come through really nicely to cool down. So I'm going to be out here today. It's going to get a little bit warm. I'm going to work up a sweat and see how these layers do wicking that perspiration off of me. I'm also going to be hiking by a creek, so probably toward the end of the hike, I'm going to go ahead and soak these things and see how they feel as well. I think it'll be a good test of their properties as far as how well they do in warm temperatures. So I'm about a half hour in. I've managed to work up a bit of sweat on my back between it and the backpack. Didn't really feel it against my skin. In fact, I was actually a bit surprised when I swapped out my shirt. The layer 1 shirt was fairly damp. Between my back and my backpack was the normal back sweat that you get when you're hiking. However, not a lot of it had transferred onto layer 2, but it hadn't felt clammy or anything, so that's pretty good. So far so good. So Finetrack calls their L2 shirt, this long sleeve zippered shirt that I'm wearing now, their base layer. The mesh shirt that I have underneath is considered a foundational layer, and that's actually what's coming between your skin and the L2 layer. As far as what I would normally consider a base layer, this is a little loose. It's quite comfortable, but as you can see, it is not clinging to my skin. It is not right up against it the way I typically consider a base layer. However, the material is quite comfortable. It's very smooth, and it works well for doing what I'm doing now. I can definitely feel a breeze through these sleeves. The moisture is collecting from sweat, but it is not sticking to me. I'm getting great airflow through here. Even the breeze that is created just by my walking, I can feel it through the sleeves. Even though I'm protected from the sun and I'm fairly well covered all the way down to my wrists, it's still quite comfortable and quite airy. Well, for a day like this, in the mid-60s, I typically would just wear a single layer shirt, just one base layer, probably something kind of loose, and that would be all I need unless I need to throw a windbreaker or something on, or obviously some kind of rain layer if it starts raining. With the mesh shirt, although it is extremely airy and extremely lightweight, it definitely adds warmth to the system. The mesh layer is supposed to be creating a barrier between my base layer and my skin for the moisture to get through and get rid of it. So because it is warmer, I am sweating more, and so I'm not really sure what the trade-off is there between the additional warmth and the additional wicking. And because the mesh shirt is considered a foundational layer with the base layer, I feel like that is a fair comparison. All right, well, I am now an hour into the hike. I'm definitely feeling the heat down in my legs. I'm starting to get that clammy feeling. I am not getting that on my arms. I can feel that there is a sheen of sweat on my skin. However, it is blowing off nicely in the shirt. The shirt still feels pretty dry. I'm gonna find a place to stop here pretty soon and evaluate how much moisture these different layers are hanging on to. All right, time to do a sweat retention check. First of all, the backpack. Definitely wet on the back. The sweat is making it through my clothes and soaking into the backpack back pad. Now I am gonna go ahead and remove these layers off camera, sorry ladies, and see how much sweat they are retaining. The L2 layer is definitely wet. You can see a very clear line of moisture where the backpack was touching. However, everywhere else it is pretty much dry. In fact, I would say almost completely dry. It doesn't have that tacky feeling. It's still very soft, not bad at all. I really don't feel anything here either. So the verdict is the only place on the L2 layer that there is any moisture retention is on the back where it was pressed against the backpack. All right, so having a look at the mesh foundational layer. Pretty much bone dry in the front. I can't feel much, but I can definitely tell the difference between the front and the back. So the perspiration is definitely making it through here. You know, it's funny, right now this actually feels very smooth and very comfortable. When I have it on though, I don't know if it's because it's just a little tight against me or what, but the material just feels a little scratchy. So I think for the next hour or so for the hike, I'm gonna not wear the mesh. I'm just gonna hang on to the L2 layer, see how much more comfortable it is without this on. One of the things I really like about this L2 shirt is the gusseted armpits, which allow me to move my arm full 360 degrees without pulling the material up. Not sure how that exactly works geometrically, but it's pretty cool. It is getting warm. I'm generating a lot of heat, perspiring. My legs are really wishing I had put shorts on, but the point of today was to test out these top layers in warm conditions, and so far I feel really good. The airflow is fantastic. I'm still protected from the sun, but I'm feeling really good as far as moisture is concerned. All right, I'm gonna do a bit of a soak test here. I'm gonna soak the L1 layer in water and hang it from my pack and check and see how it does. And then I'm also gonna get one sleeve of this shirt wet so that I can see how long it takes to dry out. All right, well, it's been 55 minutes and I just did a test. The mesh layer, the L1, is actually still a little damp, which is kind of surprising, but it's been kind of just balled up on the back of my pack. Not a very fair test. The L2, however, is completely dry. So the sleeve that was actually exposed to the moving air went from completely soaked to completely dry in less than 1 hour. As soon as I got it out in the air, the L1 dried out pretty quickly. I really like it. I mean, I think it only weighs like an ounce. The science behind it says that it really should give some extra protection from chafing and other issues that come with having wet material up against your skin. On a day like today, having 2 layers on is really not necessary, and even something as light and airy as this still provided more warmth than I really felt like I needed. However, even with both layers on, there was still quite a bit of airflow coming through the clothing. And what was nice about that is that while I was moving, it would cool me down, but when I stopped, it would warm back up. All right, well, I hope this video on the Finetrack L1 and L2 layers has been helpful to you. I have other videos on proper layering. Check them out up here. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, why don't you give it a like and subscribe to Backcountry Pilgrim if you are into hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it. Until next time, thank you for watching.